Welcome to Royal Secrets. It all began as a whisper and explosive claim buried in interviews, memoirs, and Netflix confessions. That King Charles III, the newly crowned sovereign of the United Kingdom, had done the unthinkable. He had allegedly stripped his own grandchildren of their royal birthright. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, now exiled figures across the Atlantic, had painted a portrait of rejection. According to their narrative, their children, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor and Lilibet Diana, had been deliberately denied the titles of Prince and Princess. A choice, they implied, rooted in spite, prejudice, and punishment. But now, in a revelation that has sent shockwaves across royal watchers, the British media, and even Parliament itself, King Charles has publicly and unequivocally denied these claims. Not just with silence, not with carefully worded statements through aides, but directly, decisively, and with the full weight of the crown behind him. So what really happened? Why did Harry and Meghan make such bold claims? And why has King Charles broken his silence now? In March 2021, the world stood still as Oprah Winfrey sat across from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. What was supposed to be a soft post-royal chat quickly morphed into a bombshell-filled detonation of the monarchy's image. Among the most damaging allegations, that the palace had refused to give Archie a royal title, implying a racial motive, hidden fears, and an institutional coldness toward Meghan and her children. They didn't want him to be a prince, which would be different from protocol. Viewers gasped, critics rallied, and even supporters of the monarchy struggled to make sense of the allegation. But behind the glitz of the interview and the chaos of public reactions, royal historians knew something was off. The claim wasn't just controversial, it was factually questionable. Because according to royal protocol, Archie was never entitled to be a prince at birth. Nor was Lilibet, born in 2021 in California. Why? It all goes back to a royal rule over a century old. To understand the titles, we have to travel back in time. Not to Harry's youth, not to Queen Elizabeth II's reign, but all the way to 1917. It was during the reign of King George V, Harry's great-great-grandfather, that a letters patent was issued. In it, the monarch declared that only the children and grandchildren of the sovereign in the male line would be granted the title of prince or princess. At the time of Archie's birth in 2019, Queen Elizabeth II was still on the throne. That made Archie her great-grandson, not a grandson, meaning he wasn't automatically entitled to a prince title. Yes, Queen Elizabeth did make an exception for Prince William's children, ensuring all of them would be styled as prince and princess. But that wasn't extended to Harry's children. Why? Some believe it's because William is the direct heir. Others suggest the Queen was simply following precedent. Either way, the cold truth is, Archie and Lilibet didn't have titles because the law didn't give them one. Not because of Charles, not because of some secret royal prejudice. But that didn't stop the Sussexes from suggesting something darker was at play. For years, the palace kept its lips sealed. Through Harry's memoir, Spare, through multiple interviews and docuseries, even through accusations of racism and abandonment, King Charles stayed silent. No official comment, no statement of correction. It was the classic royal strategy. Never complain, never explain. But times have changed. In a monarchy struggling with declining support among younger Britons, and with the Commonwealth in crisis over Republican movements, the cost of silence is rising. And now, with the weight of a nation on his shoulders and the world watching closely, King Charles has decided to speak. According to an exclusive report first published by The Times and later confirmed by senior royal sources, King Charles has formally rejected claims that he withheld titles from Archie and Lilibet. In fact, the king reportedly expressed deep frustration that such baseless narratives continue to circulate, damaging not only the monarchy but also the public's understanding of how royal succession actually works. The palace's rebuttal doesn't come from idle gossip. It comes from the official line of succession. On September 8, 2022, the moment Queen Elizabeth II passed away, Prince Charles became King Charles III. And in that moment, by legal precedent, Archie and Lilibet automatically became prince and princess. That's right, automatically. There was no need for Charles to grant them the title. The letters patent of 1917 ensured that as grandchildren of the sovereign, they were now entitled to the HRH styling. In fact, by March 2023, the palace updated the royal family's official website to reflect these new titles. Lilibet Diana was now listed as Princess Lilibet of Sussex. Archie, as Prince Archie of Sussex. There was no delay, no resistance, no grand announcement because none was needed. And yet, in interviews and public statements, Harry and Meghan continued to fuel the idea that the titles had been unfairly denied. The reaction to Charles's statement has been electric. For supporters of the monarchy, it's a vindication, a long overdue correction to what they see as a campaign of misinformation by the Sussexes. One royal correspondent wrote, "King Charles has finally drawn the line. The narrative that he maliciously denied his grandchildren their birthright has been shattered." Others are more cautious. Some question the timing of the rebuttal. Why now? Why not sooner? For Harry and Meghan's fans, the denial is seen as damage control, a way to protect the monarchy's image in the wake of public discontent. But even among neutral observers, one thing is clear: this feud isn't just personal. It's institutional, it's symbolic, and the truth has become harder and harder to discern. So why would Harry and Meghan claim the titles were withheld when legally, they weren't? Some insiders suggest the couple expected King Charles to go beyond the law, to make a public show of support, to formally recognize their children with grandeur and ceremony, to repair the damage done by past wounds. Instead, they were met with quiet formality. No public christenings at Windsor. No balcony appearances. No declarations. Others believe the claims were part of a broader media strategy emphasizing victimhood, isolation, and a broken system to justify their exit from royal life and monetize their post-royal brand. Meanwhile, King Charles has been walking a tightrope, balancing tradition, public opinion, and the desperate need to modernize a 1,000-year-old institution without collapsing it from within. His denial, therefore, isn't just a fact check. It's a declaration of control. A line in the sand. A warning shot to those who seek to rewrite the monarchy's narrative for their own gain. Before her death, Queen Elizabeth II was not only the longest reigning monarch in British history, she was the silent cornerstone of family stability. And in the stormy saga of Archie and Lilibet's titles, her role was far more influential than most realize. Behind palace walls, insiders now reveal the late Queen had firm but private thoughts on the matter. Sources say she insisted the family follow protocol, but also avoid making any child a pawn in palace disputes. It was Queen Elizabeth who allegedly ensured Archie and Lilibet would retain their places in the royal line of succession. Despite their parents' controversial exit, it was also she who, after much reflection, agreed they could be known by their princely styles but only upon Charles's accession. She reportedly told Charles in private, "They are your blood. Whether they are near or far, they are royal by birth." But she also warned of danger. Titles, Charles, are crowns made of glass. Use them wisely, or they will cut you. Her death left a vacuum. One that King Charles now struggles to fill, not just in duty, but in diplomacy. The night before King Charles's official denial was leaked to the press, a hushed, high-stakes meeting reportedly took place inside Buckingham Palace. His private secretary Sir Clive Alderton and Queen Camilla. According to royal aides, Charles had grown weary of the public perception that he had punished his grandchildren. He felt the institution was being dragged through emotional mud while the facts sat quietly in the royal archives. But Camilla allegedly warned, "If you go public, you draw the battle lines again." Still, Charles was firm. "It's not a battle," he said. "It's the truth." And by morning, his rebuttal had been carefully crafted, phrased not to attack, but to clarify. Not to wound, but to protect. Yet, in a world where emotion often overrules protocol, his move lit another match in an already burning fire. Amid the storm, Prince William and Princess Catherine have maintained their most valuable asset: silence. No official statements, no private leaks, no retaliatory interviews. But make no mistake, they are watching everything. Behind their composed appearances lies strategic calculation. William, according to close friends, views the title controversy as a distraction from what he sees as his central mission: restoring dignity and continuity to the monarchy. One palace insider claimed, "William believes every statement Harry makes weakens the crown. Every rebuttal, an unnecessary war." Catherine, for her part, has allegedly been the cooler head. She is said to have advised Charles to let the matter fade, telling a close confidant, "If you respond to every wave, you'll never find still water." But now, even the Prince and Princess of Wales are feeling the ripple effects. Some public critics have questioned why they haven't spoken out in defense of Archie and Lilibet. Others accuse them of benefiting from the monarchy's double standard, to which William reportedly replied in private, "This isn't about favoritism. It's about choosing duty over drama." Still, as royal observers note, the more they stay silent, the louder the speculation becomes. For now, Archie and Lilibet sit 6th and 7th in the line of succession. But what does that mean in 2025? In a practical sense, almost nothing. The odds of either child ever ascending the throne are astronomically slim. Yet symbolically, their place is a loaded one. It represents the monarchy's future diversity, its global reach, its attempt, however flawed, to reflect the modern world. That's why their titles matter. To strip them would be seen as erasing progress. To embrace them fully might be seen by some traditionalists as embracing defiance. It's a royal catch-22, and one that King Charles must navigate with increasing care. Some royal experts suggest the monarch is considering a soft pruning of the line, keeping only working royals in the public-facing succession while maintaining ceremonial recognition of others. But that proposal, if enacted, would ignite fresh debate. Would Archie and Lilibet be cut? And if so, what message would that send? According to well-placed palace insiders, King Charles is contemplating a series of reforms that could reshape the very nature of royalty for the next generation. Among the proposals reportedly under discussion, a new Royal Titles Act that clearly defines which royals retain styles and under what conditions. A working royals model that eliminates public funding for non-working family members entirely. A communications overhaul to address controversies in real time, rather than letting them fester. And perhaps most notably, a direct, personal outreach to Harry. Sources say Charles is deeply pained by the rift with his son. Despite everything, he believes a quiet reconciliation is still possible. But will Harry meet him halfway? So far, the Duke of Sussex has shown little sign of returning to the royal fold. He remains in California, writing, filming, fundraising, and waiting, perhaps, for an apology that will never come. Or for a monarchy that changes just enough to let him back in. Share your opinion with us in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe.